Hi, you guys. My name is Shoya, and I'm a senior coach here at Relationship Hero. Today's video is going to focus on a couple of signs that your marriage may be headed for the rocks. So, the good news is if you're watching this video, then you have an opportunity to be proactive about what to do about your marriage. The bad news is if you're watching this video, you probably think your marriage is headed towards the rocks. So the first one actually kind of surprises people, which is the lack of conflict. I know you're probably thinking that if your marriage or your relationship doesn't have any conflict, that you're actually doing pretty well. But that's not really the case. Conflict is a sign that you still care about something, right? So emotions like anger and sadness help us develop an awareness for boundaries that have been crossed or things that we still care about, right? I'm always telling my clients that the opposite of love is actually not hate, it's indifference. When you get to a place where you don't even care to fight about something, when you don't even care to bring it up, then we're also getting to a place where we no longer care about the relationship, care about the work the relationship requires, or possibly care about the other person in the relationship. So, although constant conflict is not a good sign, absolutely no conflict isn't the best sign either, right? Which also leads us to our second thing, which is a lack of intimacy. Now, obviously, once you're married and once you get into the long game of the relationship, then depending on who you are, intimacy may not always be a thing. A lot of people confuse shifting out of the honeymoon phase as the relationship disintegrating, and that is not always the case. The honeymoon phase is the excitement about being in a relationship. The phase after the honeymoon phase is about the excitement about your partnership. It just really requires both people to develop consistency about their connection and about their intimacy. But if there is no intimacy, if sex becomes a chore and or a job and there isn't a ton of attraction there, we have a problem. Now, with that being said, a loss of attraction and or a loss of intimacy is not always due to the other person or the relationship. Sometimes the issue is very, very personal, or has to do with a personal problem that has nothing to do with your relationship. If there's an obstacle that is getting in the way of you being able to participate in your union, specifically the work your union requires consistently, then that problem over time can start to seem like or manifest itself as a loss of attraction, which will inevitably affect your marriage and your relationship. And last but not least, it is perpetual unsatisfaction. If you feel like there is absolutely nothing that you can do right, and there is nothing but constantly complaining in the relationship, we have a problem. Now, again, this constant complaining may not necessarily be due to you and may not necessarily be due to the relationship. It could again be due to something else affecting the partners, your partner specifically. But nevertheless, again, any obstacle that is standing in the way of somebody being able to participate in the union is also standing or perpetuating the disintegration of your marriage. So the goal here is to figure out, why is this person perpetually unsatisfied, or why am I perpetually unsatisfied in this relationship? Is there something holding me back? Is there something that's being done to me? Anytime there's constant complaining, then this is a sign of no happiness, right? And there can only be so much of a lack of happiness before people start to check out. So you've heard a couple of the signs of why your marriage may be headed towards the rocks. Here's what you need to do about it. You need to figure out the problem. If you're listening to these signs, they obviously did not start at the beginning. If they did start at the beginning, then the question you need to be asking yourself is, why did you get married? But if they didn't start at the beginning of your marriage and they started later on, then you need to flash back to that space and ask yourself, what was going on with our relationship, or me or my partner specifically, when these signs started to manifest themselves? If you can correctly and effectively assess the problem, then it's about seeing if that problem is still applicable to today's situation, because fixing that problem may be the key to fixing your relationship. Step 2 is, if there's an issue with your marriage, then do not be too proud to go talk to somebody about it. You may need to sit down with your partner and communicate about going to couples counseling, couples therapy, and or couples coaching. Having an objective third party help you both create room for you to speak freely and create room for you to effectively assess those problems. If you're having a hard time figuring it out yourself, can be the key to you to not only both showing up for the fact that you recognize there's something here to work for, but help you work forward and through it effectively. So if you have any more questions, or you feel like you need just a little bit more targeted advice about your situation, then feel free to sign into Relationship Hero and speak with a coach about what to do about your situation specifically. Until then, guys, I hope you have a great day.